Hi and welcome to another quick review, and today we're gonna talk about stiction in a motorcycle forks. So stiction is an ability of the forks to slide smoothly inner tubes within the outer tubes, which causing problems with rebound and compression damping and just generic feel of a bike. So this is how much of a stiction I have in my S1000RR forks. This is stock forks. So let me put the phone somehow so you could see what is going on. So watch this button over here. When I push down on a motorcycle and we release it slowly, this is basically where it stopped. Now I pull it up and release it, and you can see it returns exactly to the same position. There is no difference between this movement and this movement. You see? It stops exactly at the same place. So basically this is very rare occasion when you have no stiction in the forks at all whatsoever. And so what does it mean? So first of all, it means that the forks are assembled correctly, that all the seals are working well, but this position of axle casting on this part of the front axle where it can slide left and right is adjusted correctly, and what I have with forks through triple clamps also aligned correctly, so completely parallel to each other. So if you have stiction, which means when the movement up and down leaves some gap, so you'll see some kind of a gap in between. When you press it down slowly when release, or pull it up and when release, you will get some gap. It means you have a stiction. So some reference point is about 5 millimeters, so if you have more than 5 millimeters, this is something to worry about. So what do you do then? And depending on a motorcycle, it may mean what you do not have any seal grease within the fork seals. So that's one. Another is that when you install the front wheel, you did not align the forks so it would be parallel to each other. And so there are two ways how to do it. The one way is you release these two bolts over here, and then without applying the brakes, and it's actually better before doing that, remove the brake calipers and pull the brake pads one out of the other, so you'll get some gap, and just install them a little bit just so we could be just sliding freely here. And then you release this, because on the other side it needs to be tightened, because this is where the axle screws in here, yeah. So all of that needs to be assembled correctly. So this nut not just pulled in there completely, and then these two tightened. So when you come here to this side, you put in the wheel and the axle through, and then with brake pads pulled apart, without applying the brakes, you just push on the front end. You can actually then unscrew the compression damping and rebound damping correctly so it would move freely, and you start pushing without applying the brakes the front end up and down as hard as you can to get as much of a stroke here, to go through as much of a stroke here as possible. That's one method. But how I do it, I basically, after installing the front wheel, I but untighten this, I don't see it here, let me move it. I untighten these bolts on both sides, which is holding the upper triple clamp to the fork. When I remove the front caps completely, just unscrew them, both of them. Of course, your motorcycle needs to be hanged up, so there will be no weight on the actual front wheel, so otherwise it will all collapse. So you hang your motorcycle, hang it up, and you unscrew the caps, and then with these bolts untightened, you pull the wheel all the way up until you get no gap between here and here, so completely up. Yeah. When that is done, when you tighten these two bolts here, when you release the front wheel down and you tighten the fork caps, both of them, and then you tighten that bolt which is holding the upper tip on both sides, this bolt which holding the upper triple clamp to the fork, and that's it. And this is how you can get the forks parallel to each other. Of course, if you have a problem with the twisted forks, when the whole front end is twisted one way or another, the upper triple clamp comparing to lower triple clamp, then you need to untighten this nut and also those bolts which I showed to you, and then line it up together, and then slowly a little bit tighten this too, tighten this, and again through several iterations until you get this torque to the specification, and then tighten those as well. So this is how you can align forks so it could be completely parallel to each other, which results, as I showed you here, to no stiction whatsoever. These two operations basically. So regarding the fork seals and fork seal grease, so on the S1000RR the outer tubes are coated with something which basically does not require the fork seals to be greased. I don't know what it is, what is the coating here specifically, but it is extremely smooth, very well done. And I tried to use a fork seal grease in here, and it basically created more stiction comparing to the actual dry seals. On the other types of motorcycles with a different type of a coating, you will usually get better results with the fork seal grease applied when you reassembling the forks. But on the S1000RR, this way it works better for some reason, whatever it is, I don't know. So these forks were serviced about 3 months ago, something like that. I do the servicing myself, and so this is the result. I said no stiction in the forks. And I guess that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and bye bye.